Did you hear it? Watch. I think it was 4 times, maybe, or 5. A lot of repetition of that one word. Many years ago, when railroads were more commonly used in this country than they are today, at a railroad crossing, you would always see a sign that said, "Stop, look, listen. Watch, look out for the train when it comes." So stop, look, and listen. I would suggest that those words might guide us as we approach this holy season of Advent. They embody what we've heard from the prophet and from Jesus himself. Stop. First of all, stop. Don't keep moving all the time. Don't just run around. Stay still. That's very hard for us to do. We are active people. We live in a busy world. But this season in particular calls us to stop what we're doing, to think, to pray, to reflect. There must be some little time this day, no matter how busy you are, some few moments when you can stop and say, what is it all about? What am I doing? What's happening? And especially for us as a Christian community, what does this season of Advent mean? We have to stop because we are constantly being pushed and pulled in so many different directions. All of the noise, all of the commercialism, which we're very aware of at the Christmas season, and the inserts that you have in the bulletin, and the kind of theme that we're pressing, that to stop and think and not allow ourselves to be taken in by the lure and the noise of the world outside. This is the season of Advent. It's not Christmas. We're wearing dark-colored vestments, and there are no decorations in the church. A few leaves around the Advent wreath. So we come to church and we realize that this is a time for thoughtfulness about the world and about ourselves. We stop to think about the world and ourselves. The world around us is something that we can see as very troublesome. We see a lot of evil in the world, everywhere. Perhaps we might stop and think in this coming week that 5 years ago, in a little town in Connecticut, 20 children, kindergartners and first grade, and 6 of their grown-up educators were murdered in their school. Think of the parents of those children. They have not forgotten what they've lost. We have to think about to realize the loss and the pain in so many lives. We have to think about ourselves as well. We will have later on, a couple of weeks from now, the opportunity for a ceremony of prayer and penance. People can go to confession. We have to think about what it is that we need from God. The prophet in the first reading emphasizes that for us. He says, we are looking at ourselves and seeing how far we are from God. So we need God to come into our lives to help us to change, and above all to share the riches of our lives, of our faith, with other people. Just last week, Jesus reminded us that in the last judgment, what he's going to ask of us is, did you feed the poor? Did you visit the sick and those in prison? Not any highfalutin theological ideas or church restrictions, but how much did you love other people? We can't all do that for everybody, but again, small steps, small actions in our lives can make so much difference. The criterion for everything in our lives is how much do we love? It's not what we do, not our accomplishments, not how much the world knows about us, but how much do we love? I'm sure everybody here has that experience. You have the experience of loving your friends and neighbors, your family. Think about all those who are deprived of that love as we take them into our hearts and our prayers this Advent season. Think of Pope Francis visiting the Rohingya people, cast out of their country into another country that doesn't want them. Think of the suffering that is everywhere. And then think also of the blessings that we receive, not only externally, but in our inner lives. St. Paul, in the second reading, talked about the enrichment of our lives through the power and the grace of Christ. Christ coming into our lives and filling us with His power, the power to do good, the power of compassion, the power of looking at other people and recognizing them, whoever they may be, each and every single individual made in the image and likeness of God. Just to have that thought in our minds is a tremendous enrichment of our lives. So we come today in this Holy Eucharist to give thanks to God for the blessings we have received and to ask Him to make our hearts larger, to enlarge our hearts, to accept all those we meet. Sometimes even in families, there are difficult things that happen that draw people apart. Ask God to heal those wounds, that the love that we show may have a healing effect on all those we meet. In this celebration today, we begin that period of longing and desire. Isaiah says, "Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down, break open the clouds and let the sun of your light come into our hearts." You might think about that as a prayer that you say all through this Advent season. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down to us. As God comes to us in this celebration, in a few minutes you come to the altar, and our hearts, our minds, our bodies and souls are enriched by the presence of Christ. As we are enriched at this moment when we hear His word and we share it with one another. God bless us, help us to understand the wonderful mystery that is about to happen in our church and in our lives. And may all of us always live by the light of the candle that we have lit, so that that light may enter within us and shine out from us to all we meet.